Congratulations. You finally have a haircut that matches your age. That's what the note said when I woke up on my son's wedding day. My head completely shaved, my scalp burning, the smell of antiseptic still hanging in the air. I didn't scream. I opened my safe, pulled out the envelope containing $22 million, my entire life's work, and I changed the game. My name is Margaret Thornton. I'm 65 years old. I built a real estate empire from nothing after my husband died 30 years ago, raising my son alone, giving him everything. And on what should have been the proudest day of my life, someone humiliated me to my core. But here's what they didn't know. I was about to walk into that church, smile through the ceremony, and expose every lie in front of everyone. Because sometimes the greatest wedding gift isn't money, it's truth. And the truth I was holding, it was about to destroy a carefully planned betrayal, shatter a fake marriage, and set me free from the people who saw me as nothing more than a bank account. This is my story, and I promise you, it doesn't end the way you think. I'm glad you're here. If you're watching this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're hearing my revenge story from. I want to know how far it's reached. Let me take you back 30 years. I was 32 when my husband Robert collapsed on the highway. Heart attack, gone in seconds. I remember standing in that hospital corridor, my 12-year-old son Daniel clinging to my waist asking, "Mom, where's Dad?" I had no answer, just a crushing weight on my chest and a promise forming in my heart. Daniel would never want for anything. We lived in a small house outside the city. That first night, I watched him sleep on the couch, tears still wet on his cheeks. And I knew, from that moment on, everything was on me. I had no business background, no connections, just fear and determination. So I started learning. I spent nights at the public library studying real estate, property management, market analysis. During the day, I knocked on doors, pitched deals, worked for pennies. There were nights I went hungry so Daniel could have new textbooks. When he asked why I wasn't eating dinner with him, I'd smile and lie, "Already ate, sweetheart." 3 years later, I bought my first duplex. My hand shook so hard signing those papers, I could barely hold the pen. From there, one building became two became 5. I worked on until midnight, 7 days a week. By the time Daniel graduated college, I'd built Thornton Properties, a multi-million-dollar real estate company with developments across 3 states. I thought I'd given him everything, a life without fear, without hunger. But here's what I didn't give him: struggle, responsibility, the knowledge that money isn't free. I'd raised a prince and forgotten to teach him how to fight his own battles. At 25, he came to me. "Mom, I need a condo. You'll cover it, right?" Not a request, an expectation. I wrote the check without question. At 30, he brought home Vanessa. Beautiful, polished, charming in public. But the way she looked at me, like I was an obstacle, not a person. During family dinners, she'd make little comments. "Margaret, don't you think that dress ages you? Try something younger." Daniel would laugh along. I swallowed it all, smiled through the pain, because I was terrified of one thing: losing my son. So when their wedding approached, I prepared the ultimate gift, $22 million, my life's work. I thought it would bridge the gap, keep me in Daniel's life. I had no idea it would tear everything apart. The morning of the wedding, I jolted awake to that note. My hand went to my head. Smooth, burning skin, the sharp smell of antiseptic hanging in the air. Someone had shaved my head while I slept. I didn't scream. I walked to the bathroom mirror. The woman staring back wasn't Margaret Thornton, CEO, mother, survivor. She was someone humiliated to her core. My silver hair, my pride, the one thing I'd kept beautiful through all those brutal years, gone. Tears pushed up, but I forced them down. They want you broken. Don't give them that. On my nightstand sat an ivory envelope with blue ink. Have a wonderful day at my wedding. A crude heart at the end. The paper reeked of Vanessa's perfume. I knew who did this. And in that moment, something shifted. I walked to my bedroom safe, still open from the night before. Inside lay the envelope containing the $22 million transfer documents. I picked it up. The paper felt different now, sharp, like a blade cutting my palm. I set it back in the safe, turned the dial, listened to the metal click. That gift was never leaving this safe. I called my attorney. Put the transfer on hold, not a single dollar moves. Tonight we're rewriting my entire will. Then I called my hairstylist of 20 years. Lucia, I need you now. Bring your best wig. No one can know. While I waited, I sat by the window watching snow drift across the garden. Memories crashed through me, burying Robert with Daniel in my arms, swearing he'd never know fear or hunger. I'd kept that promise for 3 decades, and now it stood to destroy me. When Lucia arrived and saw my scalp, she covered her mouth. Oh my God, Margaret. Don't ask, just help me stand tall today. An hour later, I had a beautiful silver gray wig that looked real. When Lucia held up the mirror, I recognized myself again. Not the wreck from the morning, the woman who'd never accepted defeat. I tucked a small voice recorder into my purse. My instinct screamed, "Today, you'll need proof." Then I stepped outside into the cold and drove to the church. The battle had started the second I touched that bare scalp. But the ending? That would be mine to decide. St. Andrew's Church gleamed with white flowers and golden candlelight. Guests filled the pews, excited whispers bouncing off the stained glass. I sat in the front row, clutching my purse, the recorder inside heavy as a loaded gun. I'd come to witness my son's wedding. Instead, I was about to uncover his betrayal. I stepped into the side hall for air. That's when I heard Daniel's voice, low, urgent, coming from behind a stone column. "Tessa, no, don't come here now. Just wait until after the ceremony." Tessa Park, his young secretary. My chest tightened. I pressed against the column, forcing my breathing to slow. "After I get the money from Mom, everything changes," Daniel whispered into his phone. "We won't have to hide anymore. Just be patient a little longer." Each word was a knife. The money, my wedding gift, the $22 million I'd prepared. He was planning to take it and run, not to build a life with Vanessa, to escape with his mistress. "You know how Mom is," he continued, voice dripping with contempt. "Always desperate to please me, afraid I'll leave. As soon as she signs this afternoon, we'll have it all. Freedom, no strings." I bit my lip to keep from crying out. My son, the boy who'd once held my hand through thunderstorms, now saw me as an ATM. "I have to go," he said quickly. "Keep it quiet. After the honeymoon, I'll handle everything. Trust me." The call ended. I slipped back into the shadows as Daniel emerged, straightening his jacket, plastering on that perfect groom's smile. But I'd heard everything. In my purse, the recorder's red light blinked. Every lie, every betrayal, captured. I returned to my pew, heart pounding, but something had crystallized inside me. This wasn't just about Daniel anymore. I needed to know about Vanessa, too. I walked down the corridor toward the bridal prep room. Music and laughter spilled through the half-open door. Then I heard Vanessa's voice, sharp and triumphant. "In a few hours, I'll have half that fortune. $22 million, and by law, I get half. Daniel's so naive. He has no idea I'm filing for divorce the moment we're back from the honeymoon." Her bridesmaids erupted in laughter. "What about the mother-in-law?" one asked. "She's always hovering." Vanessa's voice turned ice cold. "Once the money's in, I'll convince Daniel to put her in a nursing home. Park her there and let someone else deal with her. Once she's out of the house and the company, she's powerless." Shrill laughter sliced through me. I stood frozen, recorder running, capturing every venomous word. They both wanted my money, neither wanted me, and neither knew I was listening. The ceremony began. White roses lined every pew. Candles flickered. The organ swelled as Vanessa glided down the aisle in French lace, her train trailing behind her like a royal cloak. Everyone gasped. Cameras flashed. I watched her beam at the guests and thought of her words. Put her in a nursing home. Daniel waited at the altar in his black tuxedo, smile wide and confident. I heard his phone call echo in my head. Mom's desperate to please me. The priest's voice rolled through the vaulted space. Marriage is a sacred union. I almost laughed. Sacred? This was a calculated scam. When the vows came, Daniel turned to Vanessa, voice steady. I promise to love you, respect you, and stand by your side for life. Lies, all lies. Vanessa smiled, eyes shining. I promise to care for you and face every challenge together. More lies. When the priest asked, "Does anyone object to this marriage?" I clenched my fists. Not yet. Wait. The rings were exchanged. The priest declared them husband and wife. They kissed as the church erupted in applause. I clapped too. Slow, steady. My face a mask of motherly pride. Inside, I was counting down. The reception hall glittered with white flowers and champagne. Music pulsed. Guests laughed and toasted. Daniel and Vanessa sat at the head table holding hands, glowing. To everyone else, it was perfect. To me, it was a carefully staged con. The MC's voice cut through the chatter. And now please welcome Margaret, the groom's mother, to share a few words. Every head turned, expectant smiles. My heart hammered, but my hands were steady. Thank you all for being here to celebrate with us. For me, this is sacred. Watching my son begin a new chapter. I paused, took a sip, then set the glass down. For 30 years, I've lived by a promise. Since my husband passed, I swore to protect Daniel with everything I had, to give him a life without want. Some older guests nodded, eyes glistening. And today, I plan to give him and Vanessa a wedding gift. A substantial one. $22 million. The savings of my lifetime. Gasps, murmurs. Vanessa's eyes lit up. Daniel forced a smile. I drew a breath, let the silence stretch. But life taught me something important. Not every sacrifice is valued, and not everyone deserves what you give them. Confusion rippled through the room. I reached into my purse and pulled out the recorder. Before I decide, I said, voice calm and clear, I think everyone should hear the truth. I pressed play. Daniel's voice filled the silent hall. After I get the money from Mom, everything changes. We won't have to hide anymore. Just be patient. Mouths fell open. Heads whipped toward Daniel. He went pale. Mom, wait. This is a misunderstanding. I didn't stop. I pressed play again. You know how Mom is. Always desperate to please me. As soon as she signs, we'll have everything. Freedom. No strings. The room exploded. Guests whispered. Phones came out. Daniel stood, stammering. It was just a joke. I cut through him, voice like steel. A joke? About betraying your marriage? About treating your mother like a wallet? He sat down hard, sweat beading his forehead. I turned to Vanessa. And you have something to explain too. I pulled out the note from my purse, held it up. Congratulations, you finally got a haircut to match your age. You shaved my head while I slept. A cheap, degrading attack. Vanessa shot up. That's not mine, you're lying. I smiled coldly. Then why did you brag this morning about divorcing Daniel in a few months? About taking half the money and putting me in a nursing home? Silence crashed down like a wave. Vanessa's face drained of color. Her lips trembled, but no sound came out. I let it hang there, then slowly raised my glass. So I'm canceling the $22 million gift. Neither of you deserves a penny of what I earned. The room erupted. Chairs scraped. Voices rose in shock and anger. Daniel collapsed into his seat, head in his hands. Vanessa stood frozen, shaking. I set my glass down, voice calm and final. The greatest wedding gift I can give today is the truth. And the truth is this: greed and betrayal never win. I turned and walked toward the exit. Behind me, chaos roared. People shouted, cameras flashed. But my steps were light, steady. I wasn't the trembling woman from this morning's mirror. I was the one who'd stripped away their masks in front of everyone, and I'd taken back control. In the lobby, Daniel caught my arm. "Mom, please, don't do this. I'll change." I pulled free. "I've given you chances your whole life, Daniel. You threw them away. Now you live with the consequences." I didn't wait for his reply. I walked out into the cold air, leaving my son sobbing behind me. Outside, the decorated cars still lined up, flowers still bright. The dream wedding had collapsed in minutes, and I was finally free. The next morning, I sat in my attorney Richard's office signing new documents. "The will?" he asked gently. "Daniel gets nothing. Everything goes to a charity fund supporting widowed mothers starting businesses." Richard nodded. "And the trust fund?" "Terminated. Every pipeline closed." Each signature felt like cutting a rope that had bound me for years. When I signed the last page, I leaned back and breathed, released, free. Back home, I walked through the house looking at old family photos. For years, I'd kept them as proof of motherhood. Now I understood. I didn't need proof anymore. I opened my safe, took out savings books and company documents, and filed them into a new cabinet labeled Freedom Fund. From now on, money wouldn't be a chain tying me to undeserving people. It would be a tool for me and for those who truly needed help. An invisible cord had been cut. I was no longer bound by guilt or duty, and I was finally free to live for myself.